Okay, so this type of problem right here. Find the center and radius of the circle. Okay? When I give you this form of a circle, it's pretty tough to tell where the center is and where the radius is, right? You're used to this. Okay? If you see this, you know right where the center is and what the radius is. What is the center of this circle right here?
Negative 4.
Negative 4, 1. And what's my radius?
3.
3. Okay? We know that, or hopefully we do. Alright? Because here's our formula that represents a circle. Alright? It's always the opposite of h and the opposite of k. That's my center. So my center of the circle is at negative 4, positive 1. So my center would be at negative 4, positive 1. And my radius is always the square root of this number right over here. So my radius would be 3. Okay? Are there any questions on determining where the center of the circle is and what the radius is when you're given this form? Any questions on that? Anything at all you can think of? Okay? So, when we're given this, it's pretty easy to tell. Notice, these are perfect squares. I have a quantity squared. I have a quantity squared. Okay? And then you square root this, and that's always your radius. Okay? Everybody see this? Quantity squared. Quantity squared. Okay? A sum or difference, quantity squared. We need that in order to tell where that radius is. So when you're given this, you don't have that anymore. You don't have a quantity squared. So you need to make something become a quantity squared. Okay? Here's what we do it. It's called completing the square, or making a perfect square. Okay? In order to make a perfect square, you need to have a perfect square trinomial. Maybe I should review that. Okay? For instance, this is a perfect square trinomial. Right here, this is a perfect square trinomial. Because if we were to factor this, what would my two factors be? Well, what times what gives me x squared? X times x. And what two numbers multiply to positive 16 but add to negative 8? Negative 4 and negative 4, right? So really, isn't that x minus 4 quantity squared? So this, right here, that is a perfect square. Because if I factor it, what do I get? A quantity squared. A perfect square. Something squared. Okay? So this is a perfect square. Let me do another one because I'm seeing some funny looks. That is a perfect square. What are my two factors? X and x. What multiplies to 36 and adds to 12? So they both are positive. Got to multiply to positive 36 and add to positive 12. Positive 6 and positive 6?
Yeah.
So x plus 6 and x plus 6 are my two factors. Okay? Because what if I were to multiply this back out? What would I get? This right here. X squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 36. It equals what we had up here. Okay? So this is a perfect square. So x plus 6 quantity squared. How are we doing? Questions? Okay. Is that a perfect square? No, because what do numbers multiply to 7 and add to 10? There aren't any. Okay? So that 7 is wrong. If there was an equal sign, let's say this equaled, I don't know, 0 or something, okay, I would get rid of that 7. X squared plus 10x plus blank equals negative 7. I would get rid of that 7. Everybody see what I did? I got rid of that 7.
Yeah.
I want to figure out what number needs to go here so I have a perfect square. Okay? I need to figure out what number goes here that would make me have a perfect square on this side of the equal sign. Here's the trick. Take this value right here in front of the x, cut it in half and square it.
25.
Cut it in half and square it and you get 25. So if I put a plus 25 on this side of the equal sign, I have to put a plus 25 on that side of the equal sign, because I gotta keep things equal. Now this is a perfect square. What are my two factors?
5 and 5.
So x plus 5 and x plus 5? Very good. X plus 5 and x plus 5. Or in other words, x plus 5 quantity squared, and then yeah, equals whatever that is, 18. Okay, I just kind of made up that number over there. Questions? If I'm going too fast, if it's something you're not following, you're definitely not going to get it when I go back to the problems. We need to ask. What I just did there by filling in that blank was I completed the square. I created a perfect square by adding something to that side of the equal sign. I made that become a perfect square. How do I come up with the number that has to be? You take this value, you cut it in half, and then you square it. So 10 cut in half is 5. 5 squared is 25. Okay? So, let me go back to this problem right here. So look at this, the x's, x squared minus 4x, and then I don't even have a constant in there. So I'm going to put a plus blank in there. I need to make a perfect square. So x squared minus 4x plus blank. I need to have a trinomial, that means 3 terms, in order to create or have a perfect square. So I'm going to put this plus blank in. Okay? Is this 7 the correct number as far as the y's go? No, because is there anything that multiplies to 7 and adds to negative 10? No, so that 7's wrong. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to subtract it to the other side. So minus 7, and then I have plus y squared minus 10y. I'm going to put another blank in here, and that equals 14 minus 7 is 7. So now I need to make the perfect squares. Okay? What number, Skylar's going to go here? 4. Yep, how'd you get that?
Because negative 2, which is divided by 2,
Half of this is negative 2.
and then
Square it, right? Negative 2 times itself is a positive 4. So I put a 4 in that blank. But if I add 4 to this side, I better add 4 to the other side, right? Okay, Kale, what goes in this blank? Okay, what'd Skylar do? He took this value, he cut it in half, and then squared it. Half of negative 4 was negative 2. There you go. Okay? And if I add 25 to that side, I better add 25 to this side. Now, I guarantee you, if you did it right, we have perfect squares. Okay? Kim, what are the two factors right here? What two factors would multiply to equal this?
X plus 2.
They got to add to negative 4. So therefore, x minus 2 and x minus 2. Very good. X minus 2 and x minus 2. What are these two factors that are going to go here? Cameron?
you do y minus
What numbers multiply to this and add to this?
y minus 5.
Y minus 5 and y minus 5. Good. Okay? So really I have x minus 2 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals, what's that, 36? 7 plus 4 plus 25. Now can you tell where the center of that circle is? Yep, where is the center? 2, 5, and what's my radius? 6. Remember, it's opposite of these values, so 2, 5. My center would be located at 2, 5, and the radius is always whatever the square root of that number is. Okay, so my radius would be 6. That is how you complete the square. You have to know how to do that problem in order to pass Learning Target 9-3.
Do we have to, like, move the radius back to where it needs to be squared, or can we just leave it like that?
You mean
Like,
leave it
do
like...
we have to write 6, or can we just leave it as 36?
If the directions say to write the equation in standard form, here's your answer.
Okay.
If the directions say, tell me what the radius of this circle is, your answer would be 6. Okay? Good question. Any other questions?